Hi, welcome to our first lesson on the Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. We're going to look at the story through the hero's journey. This lesson goes through part one of the book, slash the beginning, slash act one, if you looked at it like a play, slash exposition, inciting incident, and a little bit of rising action if you're looking at it from a plot structure of the traditional diagram. These are referring to pages 1 through 66. And we'll go over in this lesson the status quo, the ordinary world, the call to adventure, assistance, and departure crossing the threshold. Got your Cornell notes? The topic at the top of your notes should say ATD, that's Absolutely True Diary, Part 1, Hero's Journey. Essential question: how does Junior Spirit's story follow the hero's journey, stages 12 through 3? As a refresher, this is our hero's journey. Today, we are going to start with the status quo. Then we're going to discuss the call to adventure, who are Junior's assistants, how he makes his choice and departs into the special world, and a little tiny bit of the trials. Here we go. Okay, so in the ordinary world, we meet Junior Spirit. His real name is Arnold, but everybody calls him Junior. A hero's journey thrusts the main character out of their everyday situation into a new one, which they must deal with over the course of the story. But to properly appreciate what a shock that will be, we need to see them in their ordinary, everyday environment to begin with. So note that the hero's ordinary world may be like ours, or they may live in a strange and imaginary place. But even if the hero lives somewhere that seems extraordinary to us, they are used to it. In our story, it is different because it starts in a Native American reservation in the state of Washington, which we don't live in, right? But to him, it's very ordinary because that's where he was born and raised. We're going to start with the Black Eye of the Month Club. That's chapter 1. Reminder that this is Junior's true diary, as he states it. He is the narrator. It is his perspective. It is not perfect because any first person, we question their reliability. This setting is a Spokane Indian reservation in the state of Washington. He is 14 years old, and our hero has some major flaws, which they usually do. He has physical flaws, stutters, seizures, brain damage from the seizures. He has really poor vision. He's very skinny with large feet, and he was born with water on the brain and had to have skull surgery. He has emotional flaws. He's bullied every day, so he's got some emotional damage and some mental damage from that. I'm talking here, he's not literally the R word. He calls himself that. So I really feel that he's internalized the bullying, which is why I put the mental here. In order to stay safe, Junior reads, he draws, and he says he draws comics to talk to the world. His conflict is revealed here right away. The reason that he draws is because it might be his only real chance to escape the reservation. So we know right away this is what he wants. Also, in the ordinary world, we meet Junior's parents in chapter 2, Why Chicken Means So Much to Me. We learn that Junior lives in extreme poverty. Worse than hunger, though, he says, is losing his best friend and dog, Oscar, because his parents didn't have the money to take him to the vet. When we meet his parents, Junior says that they came from poor people who came from poor people who came from poor people, all the way back to the very first poor people. His mom, and he talks a lot about their dreams and what they would have become if someone had paid attention to them. His mom would have gone to college and reads books like crazy, remembers everything she reads like a photographic memory, and she probably would have been a teacher of the year. His dad, given the chance, would have been a musician. Dreams are not realized on the reservation. We don't get those chances or choices. We're just poor. That's all we are. So that is his other conflict, is that he's a young man. He has big dreams, but he doesn't feel like he has any hope. for making those dreams true. Poverty doesn't give you strength, he says, or teach you lessons about perseverance. No, poverty only teaches you how to be poor. So you'll notice that this book has some really straight up, honest, authentic truths in the mix of all the funniness and the awkwardness. Also important to me in the ordinary world is Junior's best friend. In the chapter, Revenge is My Middle Name, he is introduced. His name is Rowdy. He was born mad. He's the toughest kid on the res. He's long and lean and strong like a snake. His heart is as strong and mean as a snake, too. So you see him, if we're going to use some literary terms, he's a foil to Junior, which means he's like the opposite, right? And putting Junior, this weak, sensitive kid, next to Rowdy, this tough, angry kid, it just makes their traits even more pronounced. We call that a foil. Rowdy gives Junior tough love when Junior is sad about losing Oscar, but he's also his protector. Rowdy's dad gets drunk and he beats him quite often, so you can see how Rowdy got so tough. Rowdy, according to Junior, is always crying and screaming and kicking and punching, has been that way since he was born. He fights everyone, including Junior sometimes, and also shares Junior's love for comic books and basketball, which we're going to find out later. He has a great laugh and talks about his dreams only with Junior. And at the end of that chapter, he says they are inseparable, which will make, this journey even harder on Rowdy. All right, so we're still in the ordinary world, but we're heading towards that call to adventure. Junior starts high school in the chapter because geometry is not a country somewhere near France. We meet Junior's older sister, Mary, and his geometry teacher, Mr. P. Mary just froze after high school. She didn't do anything. She lives in the basement. I think she is an example of what happens when you have no hope, when you have big dreams and then no hope of fulfilling them. She's beautiful, strong, and funny, and her nickname is Mary Runs Away, which is a little bit of foreshadowing, hint, hint. Some new information we get is that Junior loves math and he loves basketball. Then we meet his math teacher, Mr. P, who is an odd and weird looking dude, lives on campus but forgets to come to school, has low expectations of the students because he's been kind of worn down by the reservation too. And he's white. And also, really important thing that happens in this chapter is he gets a book thrown at him by Junior. I think Junior surprises himself by his anger when he opens that book and finds out it was his mother's, and it just really brings to him this feeling of hopelessness that he may never get out of the res. So there begins the call to adventure, that throwing of the book. And then when he's suspended at home, Mr. P comes to visit him. And so in this chapter, Hope Against Hope, I want to remind you that mentors can be parents, siblings, friends, or teachers too, among others. So Mr. P is an initial mentor for him. One of Junior's teachers realizes how frustrated Junior is with the terrible education on that's a typo, reservation, after Junior has hurled this textbook across the class, breaking the teacher's nose. Mr. P shows up at Junior's house and urges him to transfer to the off reservation and very white school in the nearby town of Reardon. The teacher is both giving Junior the call and providing him with the encouragement of a mentor. This certainly thrusts Junior into a new situation, and his trials and triumphs at the new school will drive the rest of the plot. Okay, so some more on the call to adventure. Sometimes there is a refusal and then an acceptance. It doesn't always get, yay, I'm on my adventure. This is a very tough decision for Junior. So, in order for the hero's journey to begin, they must be called away from the ordinary world. Heroes must be removed from their typical environment, and typically they show reluctance to leave their home, their friends, and life to go on a quest. But in the end, they do accept their destiny. Junior has a guiding question, which we will be thinking about. What's going to happen to him at the white school? Instead of evolving into a mystery, like with a magical stone, like Harry Potter, this novel focuses more on character and relationships. We are soon wondering not only what will happen to Junior at the White School, but also whether he'll be able to remain friends with Rowdy, his best friend from the reservation, while he's away. As you can see in this comic, Rowdy is not happy about it. And I'm talking about the chapters 6 and 7, Go Means Go, and Rowdy Sings the Blues. Junior, first he talks it over with his parents. They support him right away, though they are clear that it will be difficult for many reasons. Their poverty, the all white school, and quote, the Indians around here are going to be angry with you. Junior's ability to get to the school is going to be a major barrier for him, as the school is like, I think, 21 miles away, and they don't really have reliable transportation. So he feels the sense of urgency, though, even when they say maybe next semester. And he tells them, no, if I don't go now, I never will. And then in Rowdy Sings the Blues, talking to Rowdy is more difficult. And he says, I knew that my best friend had become my worst enemy. So now we get to stage 3, departure, crossing the threshold into the special world. And I think this comic here is so perfect to represent this crossing over. As you see that part-time Indian there, half of it is Junior, the other half is how he perceives um, white people and their future and their possibilities. They have hope, and Indians have bone-crushing reality. As the hero embarks on their journey, they enter into a strange world, often very fantastical. They must adapt to the new culture and rules of the world. The hero's endurance, strength, and mettle, if you haven't heard that word before, it means resolution or determination, are tested time and time again. We'll talk more about this in the next lesson. Contemporary or realistic fiction, does it have a fantastical special world? But they do still cross a threshold into another world. Junior has not journeyed that far, geographically speaking, but it's essential that it's like he's entering a whole new world when he leaves his on-reservation school to the all-white school in Reardon. This is the chapter How to Fight Monsters. Um, this is a very big chapter. The author is going to spend an extra moment or two with the crossing of the threshold here at the beginning of the chapter. Junior finds the doors to the school locked when he first shows up, and he must wait for the janitor to come to let him in. The locked doors are a symbol of how entering a new situation has its shares of barriers and obstacles. All right. So the rest of the chapter kind of goes, it is the departure, but it also begins the trials because it is his first day at the school and already presents him with some major challenges. A lot happens in this chapter. I'm not going to go over all the details. I encourage you to read it. Read it. It's very, very important, especially the scene that you see on the right. This is his first experiences. You meet some new characters, Penelope and Roger. And you're going to read about some culture clash and some racism, unfortunately. Okay, so to be continued. Your next steps are to add questions to your notes, summarize your notes, and then complete your reader response assignment. Pick some quotes or some passages that you want to talk about in our discussion. Thank you.